Belmathuin here. It's time for another tutorial. This is a 1.13 Guardian farm that I came up with. I used some pretty obvious mechanics, as in the elevator, but what makes this farm a little special is that it's not going to take up your entire monument. This is for those of you that either don't want the lag of an entire monument's worth of soul sand pushing bubbles up to the surface along with a ton of mobs, and also for those of you that are single player or a small group of people and don't have the need for such a large amount of drops, really. A lot of the farms I've seen so far involve either covering the entire monument or knocking down the monument and replacing the entire floor with soul sand. And I can tell you from experience, that's real laggy. If you're trying to run this on your computer and your computer's not like this year's model, you're going to experience some lag. I even see the hermits experiencing lag while they're over in that area. So I decided to come up with something for my single player survival series that would not lag my machine out, but it would still give me an efficient flow of guardians. Because they're great for experience, they're great for the sea lanterns and the prismarines and all that other good stuff. But I don't want to have to worry about trying to manage the all of the drops. You know, what am I going to do with 100,000 drops per hour? Where am I going to put them? Am I going to screw up the storage system and make that 100,000 items per hour lag out or corrupt part of my world? Not if I use this design. So basically, this design, I tried to affect the monument as little as possible while still giving us a pretty decent amount of spawns. The trick to this farm really is just right here. What is that? 2 blocks below sea level, which is right there. Should be Y60. We're gonna put in a row of fence gates, all open, along this tank that I built up. I built this tank up to Y63 because I wanted to give them a little bit of room to pop up and land on top of the water stream, because that seems to help push them before they start sinking into it. The inside of the tank is 7 wide, so that just one little old water stream along this back wall will push everything in the tank forward and over the edge, because you want to have that one extra piece. Let's head on in there. You want to have that one little extra piece of water to go over top of the side of the tank. And I'm leading them into a too far drop, or a too tall drop, that is 7 wide, and then 8 to use up the entire water stream. There's just a couple of fence gates. Let me go into spectator mode, it might be a little bit easier. There we go. So we're dropping them out of the tank into this water stream, little collection area. And it's just gonna, this could technically be straight if you put a fence gate like right there. So you don't have to have the drop off. I just happened to because I thought it looked nicer. And I found that for the water elevator collection part of this, that we wanted to have a couple of drops. So I put in some closed fence gates on the bottom Just in testing, that seemed to be what helped. And then three sets of open fence gates, and then the water elevator tunnel. I did that on both sides. You're not seeing a lot of spawns because I'm in spectator mode, so it doesn't think there's a player around. On the inside right here, right in the center, I just did the 3 open fence gates and a couple of fence gates below, just so that they fall, or they ride the water to the end, and then they start to fall, and the arc of their fall puts them right in the water elevator, and then they take right off. This can be as long as you want. You can bend it. You can do step downs if you want, but I actually found this straight approach to be as effective. I actually about an hour ago still had this part of the farm as a step down, and I decided to try this, and I can honestly say that this is as effective, and it looks cleaner. It's easier to build. You can kind of stick the fence gates wherever you need them to be, because you want the last flowing water to only be 8 blocks long, so that they're pushed right off the edge. I also originally had the I also originally had the glass right up here. Now let's get out of game mode so that they start spawning again. So I had the glass here so that they were going to scoot right under, and I thought that meant that they wouldn't flop around and that they would go through nice and quick. I actually found that them being able to hop is helpful. You see, they hop, they kind of jump in the direction we want them to go instead of binding up. So maybe even going up a few more would be even more helpful. But as you can see, they drop out of the tank pretty good. They also don't clog up at the entrance to the water elevator. They seem to go right in. And if they don't go in, the next one in line nudges them. So you wind up with a pretty continuous stream going up here and a pretty continuous stream dropping down. Now the best thing about this is that tank right there, it can really be any size you want, and it can be placed anywhere in the monument that you want. So if you're going to build your base here, you can use this method to get passive guardian drops while you're running around in your base, while not taking up the entire thing. This right here, totally optional. I just decided to do a torch tower up to the top, so that if I need to do maintenance or change anything down in my kill area, all I gotta do is flick a switch down there that changes the torch tower and makes the pistons block everything off up top. And then when I'm done, I just flick the switch. It doesn't back them up too bad. So this drop, I'll even give you the coordinates. They're falling onto block at Y level 40. They are falling off of a block at Y 73. So that's a 33 block drop. Now we come over to here, and because I want this to also be an experience farm, let's get rid of that. I decided that it'd be nice to be able to flick a lever, pop a couple trap doors, and come on in here. So now I can kill them, and it's only one hit. They're still taking a lot of fall damage. And then one swing. You get all that lovely experience driven right to you. And when you're done repairing or getting your levels or whatever it is you're doing, you just kill them off, pull the lever again, and it drops them down into, drops whatever live ones are remaining down into this little bin. That lever drops those 2 blocks and moves the 2 half slabs into the center. That's all it does. Drops those 2 blocks. There's our hoppers. Pushes these 2 half slabs in. We get our kills. We pull the switch. The 2 blocks pop back up. We can kill off whatever remains alive. Those 2 half slabs are retracted. Everything dies. And conveniently, we can close those trap doors. You probably notice none of them are shooting at me. I'll have to show you in survival, but that also, they don't shoot at you in survival either. I'll give you a quick peek at the inner workings of this. It's nothing super complicated. I'm not the world's greatest redstoner, but actually we can get rid of those 2. Literally all it is, we have a torch coming off a block up into another torch that has a block, and when that torch is lit, it powers that block, which pushes the piston and the half slab. I have the same setup on this side, and I have a line of redstone dust coming over here, so that when I pull that lever, that torch and that torch both go out, which allow this torch and its counterpart on the other side to light up. I also needed the redstone torch to stop powering that repeater and that repeater to retract these 2 blocks. And I wanted it all to happen at the same time, so I figured this was the best setup. You can pause your video, you can count out the blocks you might need for it. Really all it is 4 sticky pistons, 4 torches, 4 pieces of redstone, 2 repeaters. I have not noticed any need for any changing of the tick speed. But yeah, that's all it does. See, that light's on, that light's off. Alright, let me build this back up real quick. Now those go there. And it also provides kind of a nice little ramp up. Now you can place this drop chute anywhere. I just kind of decided that right here is about 28 blocks away from the tank. Then you include the tank. You need to be 32 blocks away from the water source blocks for something to spawn in them. But as you can see, it's not a problem. I covered half the distance and we still saw stuff spawning in there. So I just kind of thought that building that into the door worked. You can have it drop below. You could just kill them up there. Part of the genius of the design is that we're pulling them up as quick as we can out of the bounding box of the monument. That way, more can spawn. So even though we got a bunch up here, they can still spawn there because these are outside of the bounding box. And far enough away. And then comes over to our drop chute. I guess that's really it. I mean, you can do your own storage system off of that. I've got a single player series that if you haven't checked it out, you know, you might want to go check that out. In some of the episodes, I go over how to do a storage system, and I kind of go over how the redstone for it works and why it works the way it does. So if you'd like to see that, go check out my single player series. If you're into Ark, I've got an Ark series going. Not quite at the same speed as this series, because this series takes up most of the spare time I have. But if you liked what you saw, don't forget to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment. If you happen to come up with a different configuration of this using the same kind of method that I came up with here, then go ahead and my Twitter is down in the description box. Send me a screenshot. I'm curious to see what you guys do with it. But until then, we'll see you in the next tutorial.